Hey there, welcome to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And I'm starting with an observation here, sitting with my pals, Sona Movsesian, Matt Gourley. And this is a complete happening that we just realized as we all sat down. I am wearing uncharacteristically a green kind of hoodie, olive green sweatshirt that I never wear. And I just put it on, waltzed in. Sona, you are wearing the exact same color.
Yeah.
In like a, what is that? Like an overcoat.
It's like a trench coat almost.
And then over here, Gourley just walked off the set of MASH, and he's wearing, I guess, think in the role of Radar O'Reilly. And you are wearing the exact same green.
You too.
And then I'm noticing that we're sitting on the exact same green pillows, and that the chairs are the exact same color, olive drab green.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if, I think when this airs, it will just be faces floating.
Yeah, zip up your jacket. We're going to look like three floating heads.
Three floating heads just doing a podcast. I mean, of course, we're talking about, yes, this is an audio medium, but I know that people will look at the clips. So if you want to check out the clip of... Now, what could we do? Don't we have to...
Is anyone actually going to key us out or...
No, we don't need to.
Because we look stupid. We're just swaying back and forth.
No, we look smart.
No,
I don't.
I worry... Hold on. I worry that there's probably more technology needed here. that the background also has to be all green, and then some kind of... Does anyone here understand the technology? Eduardo, do you understand it, or does Blay understand it? What do we need to do to make our head just float?
I understand it. I mean, basically, it would be because there's a black background. We would key out the green, so it would just be your heads on a see-through box. So we could key out the green.
Is this going to cost us like thousands of dollars?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I could probably do it on my phone.
Add in the background.
Yeah, I'm going to cover up.
Yeah, if you cover up your arms,
cover up your arms and your hands.
I can't
put them under the table.
This jacket is very small on me, so it's already up half my arm.
That jacket doesn't fit you. Did you steal that? Did you steal that jacket off a corpse?
Did you steal that?
No.
Did you steal that jacket off a corpse?
Off a corpse? No, I didn't steal things from corpses. I bought this a long time.
I love getting. I don't steal things from corpses. You know what I love about Sona? She has standards. She has standards.
That's the only time she could say I didn't steal.
If they're breathing, then I'm leaving.
Yeah, keep doing whatever that is.
Well, listen, I'm just saying we're trying to create. We don't have a big budget here, but we're creating a cool, spooky optical image of our heads.
Yeah, 3 days after Halloween. This is great.
Yeah, and it'll probably air long after that.
Grim grinning ghosts come out to socialize. You know?
What?
No, I don't know.
Haunted Mansion?
No.
The three heads in the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, not all of us did time professionally at an amusement park. You act like, come on, guys, you with me? Come on, guys. The song you hear 75,000 times a day when you work at an amusement park?
You gave it your all, too, in that performance.
You know what? I bare my soul for you two assholes, and this is what I get?
Well, anyway, we should probably quit doing this. It seems dumb. Yeah. What do you think? We should move on with the show?
We should, but you know what? Everybody should head over to YouTube.
Oh, for a visual treat.
Do you mean head as in pun head over to YouTube? Because we're floating heads? Grim grinning ghosts come out to socialize.
So angry at you right now. I hate you
he's
so
the worst.
much.
You are the worst.
I usually love you, but
you're the worst.
You so much
no, you guys haven't heard? I'm a little great guy.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway.
I'm saying just go to YouTube. I'm not saying to watch this. I'm just saying go to YouTube.
Yeah, go to YouTube.
Switch away from this shit.
Don't listen to this. Go on YouTube right now.
Certainly there's something you would want to watch there.
Look up a great Olympic skiing fail. Do not look at any of this shit of our floating heads.
Hi, my name is Jordan Peele, and I feel honored, absolutely fucking honored about being on Conan O'Brien's. Oh, no, sorry, I fucked it up.
No, it was going so well.
Hold up.
Oh my
Let me just take it back.
You should change it and not say
God.
So hi, my name is Jordan Peele, and I feel good about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
Yes!
We had it!
That's good.
We had it!
So you guys edit and stuff?
Not that particularly.
As you really...
Can I say something to you? I have been dying to have you on the podcast, and this is a huge delight for all of us.
Wow.
But
wow,
I first discovered you, as a lot of people did, watching Key and Peele sketches, and I would watch these sketches and I would say, okay, these are so well written. These are such great ideas. These are such perfect sketches, and these two guys are playing them perfectly, and it made me so happy. It brought me so much joy. And then you would come on the show. You guys came together. You came separately, but you came on the show and you would do bits, and we would talk. And it was just a thrill, because I think sketch comedy is an underrated art, and it's so seldom that I see sketch comedy performers that I think are just magnificent. And you guys came along and just killed it right away.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, some of the sketches I've spent years relating them to people. Like, you know that one?
Mm-hmm.
You know that one?
Yeah.
There's the burn victim who's in the insult comic.
That one, a lot of comedians really connect with this one.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, to that one, I mean, there's so many great sketches, but that one I have talked about with other comics and other people, other non-comics, and said, you know this sketch? And insult comedian going around the audience, and then respectfully passes over someone who clearly has been in a horrible situation.
Burns all over them, and is just, but passes over, tries to start heckling and, doing crowd work with the next guy, and the guy goes, do me.
And he says, no, sir, I wouldn't do it. He goes, I can take it.
Yes.
And you make him do it, and then he does it. And you're like, too far.
I thought I could take it, but I can't. Yeah.
I was crying when I first saw that. I've watched it multiple times, and you guys have many sketches like that. But I was like, okay, that's up there with, take your favorite SCTV pieces, take your favorite, your favorite sketch from SNL ever, take your favorite, you name it, Monty Python. I mean, just the whole pantheon. You guys have a bunch of sketches that slide in there, and
thank you.
God damn it, you're amazing.
I believe Alex Rubens was the writer on that sketch as well, and we had an amazing team of writers. So if I'm wrong about that, I'm desperately mortified. But look, but
also the commitment. It's the ideas, and then the performances. Simplest idea in the world, but the Black Panther leader.
Oh yeah.
Keegan is the Black Panther leader, and he's talking really angrily, and you're just making this kind of defiant face in the background, and then you start popping up into the foreground, and then you come in from the side, and then you come in from the top, which is just insane. And I was raised on Warner Brothers cartoons, and my sense of humor has always been very cartoonish. And when you guys would go into that cartoon world where reality bends in this beautiful way to frustrate the expectation, I was just over the moon.
Thank you. Look, I have to bounce that right back at you. So much of this is born from your work, and your heightening, your sort of textbook, the Simpsons.
Yeah.
This, and it was a type of sketch comedy that you see in the best sketches, where it's just kind of an aggressive and ridiculous heightening. And Mr. Show did it. And so we were just like, okay, we have this opportunity to do this thing.
Yeah. And then I'm, one of the reasons I've always, I've chatted with you, we've talked, but I've always thought, okay, if I get you in this format, because, I've spoken to Keegan, and now it's like, you're here, and I want to know, like, I always want to find out, where do these minds come from? Where does this come from? And so I kind of want to just talk about you growing up in New York. At what point do you realize I think of very strange things, and I really like comedy? Or was your first true love film, or was it comedy, or both, or horror? Where does it all start?
I probably fell in love with comedy at the same time I was getting really scared by shit. And I mean scared like as a kid, like, kid growing up in New York. I grew up next to a building called the Stratford Arms that was a hotel for transients, is what it said on the side. And it was basically, very interesting characters. Let's just put it that way. And so I had a very blessed Upper West Side, upbringing, and I was cultured and that whole privilege, but it's just like there's a creepiness to it as well. So those two things I think developed side by side, but at some point they collided for me.
Yeah.
And they did in film.
Yeah. So what are the movies that you're watching that terrify you when you're a kid?
Well, so, if I'm first thing out of my gate, this is a lot of people would say, but Nightmare on Elm Street was that imagery for my specific generation that was like too young when that came out or too young. It was more seeing the posters and the thing that it evoked such terror.
Yeah.
And so that's a formative boogeyman. But then falling in love with cinema and stuff, it's like stuff like The Shining.
I know you've referenced Rosemary's Baby, and what I see in that film that I think the best directors try to harness or a similar feel is slowly turning the dial. Because I always loved about Rosemary's Baby, and you can relate to this because it was filmed, takes place in the Dakota, Upper West Side, blocks from where you grew up. And it starts out and everything's fine. And it's the slowly turning of the knob where things are less and less fine, but it's hard to identify the exact moment when things, does that ring true for you?
I love that style and I love that location. I do have this real nostalgia and connection with that. Of course, that's where John Lennon was shot.
Yeah.
And so there's all sorts of connotations, right, with that area that are so dark. But I also think that's such a big part of the horror, kind of with comedy, is the grounding character. The person that ropes us in and reacts. And it's, with horror, it's the toad in the pot theory, right? If you throw a toad into a boiling pot, then that person's gonna leave the scene. That character needs to get out of there,
right?
And you don't want that as a horror film. You got to keep them in this isolated spot. So you slowly turn up the heat on the character.
The idea being the toad gets in, it's like lukewarm, kind of feels okay, and the temperature's slowly rising. Things are getting more and more uncomfortable.
And you can kind of believe why the character would convince themselves, oh, well, maybe it's just me.
It's so interesting because there's I haven't thought about this at all, but there are their close brothers or they're related, comedy and horror. There's a similar thing going on. It's just because you need to acclimate somebody to something that's very normal. And my favorite comedies are, let's acclimate to something very normal. And then you slowly start to bend things and twist things. Of course, you get to this insane place, but a lot of comedies that are most effective work that way. They get you to buy into a reality, and then you have to start accepting a few premises here and there along the way, but you get sort of spoon-fed them. And I think it's the same thing with probably really good horror, or the kind of horror I respond to.
Yeah, and just like the comedy, it's like the heightening, the pushing, the fantastical and the imagination. That becomes a certain type of project and exercise, but the exercise of grounding it is always what makes it work. It's and that to me in horror especially is the hardest part, because how do you ground this idea that your protagonist would stay in this situation very long? It's kind of always comes up. How can they not solve this? And you're putting the audience in this angst of wanting your character to solve it, but you're not giving that to them. And so the only way to make that in any way satisfying is to kind of honor the grounded experience as much as possible.
It's interesting because I was thinking of, when you did Get Out, it's very important that, as you said, if someone shows up, goes away for a weekend with his girlfriend and goes to a house, meet the family, if things are fucked up right away, they're out the door. So you have all these reasons which I can relate to, which is, no, this is okay. This is all right. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay in this. Okay, I can handle this. And then things, you can, like you say, turn up the heat on the pot. But how you do it and how gradually you do it is really important.
And that's the Guess Who's Coming to Dinner setup is one that everyone kind of like connects to, which is like that anxiety of meeting your in-laws for the first time, or your potential in-laws, and you want to crawl out of your skin and leave, but you can't. You're there for a reason. So we all...
I just love too. There's like, what's that line in there? Or trying to, who is it? The terrific actor.
Oh, Bradley Whitford.
Yeah, Bradley Whitford. Is it Bradley Whitford? He says, "Oh man, Obama, hey, greatest president, right?"
Yeah.
And you just think, okay, this is.
I would have voted for him a third time.
But I was just thinking, like, to me, that's also a funny comedy situation too, which is, this white person is way over, is pushing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, that was the that was the element of it.
And I'm sorry I said that to you when you came in today.
Well, yeah, well, that you should.
Obama, man, right?
A little tone deaf. It was
a little tone deaf.
There's such a thing as being too colorblind. You don't.
I'm sorry. I was trying to get in good with you right away, and it was weird.
You're good. We know each other.
But then I was saying he should be a Supreme Court justice, and you said let's let it go. I like him too.
I don't need to be cast as your judge. I don't need to be president of the United States. No, but look, I mean, we're obviously joking, but it's this, and it is in its essence, it's kind of a Key and Peele sketch. It's an observation of being black in white spaces, and in that time, I don't remember it having sort of been said like that, and so I remember just writing that and feeling like. It was the moment I realized I had to direct the film that I was writing, because I was like, I don't know anybody who can do that, who can direct that much.
Now that's a big leap, because yes, okay, you write this screenplay, obviously terrific screenplay, and you're a known quantity writer, performer, and then you say, I'd like to direct this. What was the reaction?
It was surprisingly okay.
Yeah.
This was Sean McKittrick, to this guy at QC Entertainment, who I was pitching to. And by the way, I pitched it like, no one's ever going to do this movie, but here's the pitch, and pitched this crazy plot, and started writing it about a couple months into writing it. And again, I knew the whole thing, but a couple months into writing it, I realized. Made this call, and he said, go for it. And it's just like a $5 million movie. So it wasn't like, it was like kind of the perfect type of risk. A part of it was we can't afford anyone else. You know what I mean? This is like micro budget.
I'll direct it, and you can pay me $6.
I thought it would be more controversial, but he said yes way too quick. And I was like, whoa, let's negotiate. Tried to backtrack. Too late.
I'm going to dip back and forth between comedy and horror, because I love to do that. But you've talked a lot about how the British Office was influential for you when you saw that, and particularly Ricky Gervais's portrayal in that, David Brent. That was something that spoke to you.
Yes, although that that doesn't seem really hip to talk about anymore, right? That must have been an interview from.
I know, but I'm saying I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to go back a ways. But how, when you were getting into comedy, was that something that interested you at all, or no?
So yeah, I mean, look, that honestly, it's I have Gervais, I'll be honest with you, Gervais has like a cringe factor
these
days.
Yes.
And I love him. He's a genius. Mm-hmm. And I
cringe factor because he's always trying to step on the line, step over the line.
Well, yeah, something like that. But it's what we love about. I think it's like figuring out that he is more Brent than we realize.
Which is his genius.
It's his genius. So he's an absolute genius. He knows this. I know him. And what I'd say about the Office, when that thing came out, mm-hmm. I thought it was the first thing that was able to play uncomfortable and awkward and play this entire new side of comedy,
right,
that I felt like was so cringy, mm-hmm. and welcome. Yeah. So I think it's like, to address his the master that is Gervais and Merchant, it's like cringe master generals.
Yeah.
And so as a horror fan, mm-hmm. They're goated in a certain way.
Right.
But I don't think it's like cool to be like, hey, let me talk about how cool Gervais is right now.
Well, that's what. First of all, we never. This
no
is not a cool.
Gervais.
This is not a cool podcast.
Well, look, I mean,
this is not. So you're free. I mean, we're not here to just talk about cool stuff because I'm here.
Well, that's the thing.
That's the saving grace.
Well, tell him how much you love Kevin Spacey.
Well,
just tell you. Okay.
Well, look,
what Spacey did.
I don't want you to fall for that.
Okay, I won't fall for it.
What I'm trying to say is,
and thank you for stopping me because he's always trying to get me in trouble.
This is what I have to say about the whole controversy that just happened. Mm-hmm. It feels weird to talk about someone like Gervais when I'm in the presence of you. Mm-hmm. And I'm not joking. It feels like, what are we even doing here?
Right.
Well, you don't like that? I'm calling you the GOAT. Like, it's like, why are we don't worry about what I said in 2009 about Gervais. You're here.
I like that.
But he's very uncomfortable with compliments.
Well, no, not from this man.
Oh,
no.
okay.
You like that?
I'm taking a day off of being uncomfortable around compliments.
Okay, cool.
You're right. I am the GOAT.
Well,
fuck everybody.
No, I don't like that.
Best to ever live.
No, I don't.
Also a great painter and athlete.
No.
I did not mean to break Conan. This is not good. Look, you are.
I'm an amazing lover. I go all night long.
Well,
what happened to me? I blacked out and said shit, and then I woke up, and I just smell burning rubber, and I don't know what happened. I feel bad now.
We had, I feel like I've produced a film with you.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because
do you feel that way?
Well, you and I had an interesting, and I don't know where this is going or what you're doing with this project.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm just going to say that I got this invitation to go to your office, and I didn't know anything about what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then you had this. It was absolutely fascinating. I think it was over 2 hours. You and I think you've done this with a bunch of other people.
Yes.
But you just presented me with a bunch of decks of cards, and I would select different cards mm-hmm. that would lead us towards the making of a movie.
Yeah.
And so I'd pick you'd start out with genres, and I would just pick 3 genres, and you and I would talk about them.
We produced it together.
And this is your life. Your life is making films. That is your life now, and you're making these films, and you think about it, and you're clearly extremely gifted at it, and this is what you've been put here to do. And then there's me, and I'm just firing all these ideas at you about how we could make this movie.
Fun.
It was really fun.
So I'll give you a little.
Do you think we ever got close to making a movie together that could be made? Be honest.
Yes. Our premise was solid.
Okay.
And you were a big part of that. Now, wait, can I backtrack for just a second? And because this is something that these are a bunch of sessions I've been doing with people whom I admire. The Ryan Cooglers, the Paul Thomas Andersons of the world. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going to happen of these, but they really are amazing at sort of like learning about how other creative people think about the filmmaking process.
Right.
The Daniels,
mm-hmm.
Some just incredible filmmakers, and then Conan.
Well done. You got to break it up every now and then. Every now and then it's like, this is this amazing French meal, vichyssoise, and, just perfectly baked, steaks and everything. And then every now and then you got to just have...
New perspective.
Yeah.
Fruit Loops.
Some Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops with a lot of almond milk.
And so the whole thing was we did we ended up, it's kind of like D&D,
yes.
but making a movie.
Yeah.
And it's a fake movie. And we ended up making a Christmas movie, a Christmas movie.
Yeah, we ended up making a Christmas movie that I remember thinking at the time, I absolutely think this could be a Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's the fun
I
of
think
it.
this could be a Christmas movie. And we're not, I don't want to get too much into it because we did record it. So you never know. This could be something. I don't know what you're doing with all this. It could be a movie.
Yeah, hey, but spoil away. I don't care.
Okay, well, we had it was really fun. It was a lot of fun, and it was really fascinating because my thing is to just pitch, and I threw so many bad ideas at you, and my favorite part was watching the light go out of your eyes. When I'd be going down a really bad road, and I'd see you go, okay. Conan. Maybe, and we really had to act like we're going to pitch this in a meeting with executives. So sometimes you'd say, just don't do that whole run in the meeting with the executives.
Yeah, that's right.
That was really fun.
We had to, and you had to talk some actors off of some ledges and stuff
because
like
that's part of the game. Is every now and then you'd say, okay, now it's time to pick a disaster. Like there's a there's a kerfuffle, there's a problem. So you'd splay out other cards because there are all these different decks of cards, and I'd pick one out, and it would say, your actor has lost his mind and run off set.
Who was the bad egg? Woody?
Woody Harrelson was causing us some problems. Yeah.
Anyway, it's
which just I think the minute you draw the Woody Harrelson card, he's going to be causing problems.
Trouble.
I mean, we're shooting on location, but you sent me in to deal with Woody a bunch of times.
To deal with Woody and his issues.
And then also Jen Aniston was part of our, because that was one of the cards we drew.
Right.
And I was not allowed to speak to her.
Well,
that's a wise choice.
As a producer, we made some early decisions.
That was really funny.
Choice.
I remember it. I was just not allowed to.
It's very real.
You were so good. I could see why you're very good at what you did because you were very gentle with me. But you were like, Jordan.
Look, I was legitimately honored. I just knew if I could mine, that gold.
Yeah.
In this way, we got. Yeah.
It's like, okay, and we had, I think also Charlize Theron is in there, and you were saying like, I'll talk to them.
I'll talk to them.
Now, why don't you go talk to Woody? Woody's in the trailer. Go hang out with Woody, and I'll deal with the ladies. And I'm like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why I can't have dinner with them.
But I mean, all just out. In the context of all of these sessions I've done, it's just, I mean, that one is just going to live forever for me. It's like, holy shit, I just got to movie improv with Conan, basically.
It was fun.
It was cool.
It was really fun. We had a very good time. I wanted
Sorry to kill momentum with another compliment.
That's okay. He always fast forwards them or takes them out.
I take them right out. Yeah.
It's funny because I think you asked me about the movie Halloween while we were there, and I know that this is one of your all-time favorites. Is the movie Halloween? And I remembered you asked me a question about it. I'm trying to think if was it about Mike Myers on Saturday Night Live?
Mike Myers and Michael Myers and the connection between the two.
Yeah,
that probably doesn't exist. But
I just asked you about the rumor about him having a
poster?
Halloween poster up in his office.
Oh, okay. I remember we mentioned Halloween at one point, so I don't remember, but
I do love Halloween.
We can clean that up. You love the movie Halloween. That is one of your favorites. And what I love is it's so specific. What I've heard you talk about, there's a way that Mike Myers, there's something about his physicality and the way he kills that you find really fascinating.
Well, I mean, the thing about Michael Myers is I think of him as a truly minimalist villain, which I just love that. I think that's always the scariest. I mean, the master class with him, the story about the mask, that it was a William Shatner mask.
I've heard that.
That was painted. The prop guy just went to the store, was like, fuck, it could be, it could be this, whatever, this clown mask or check this out, and it all clicked. And Carpenter's a genius. Mm-hmm. So, what I love about that film is how Carpenter tailored this monster in all of the choices: the mask, the way he moves, the stillness, shot from across the street, and you can kind of the Where's Waldo aspect. Mm-hmm. It's just all very elegant for what's ultimately, meant to be a brutal kind of killing tale. And that's kind of that's why I think horror is, such elevated cinema when done right.
I've noticed something that I was watching the movie that came out a number of years ago, The Witch. And it's, is it Eggers who made that film? And I noticed that there was one thing that, to me, I love a movie that creates such an eerie environment. Things that aren't otherwise scary are frightening to me. So there's one shot early in The Witch, which just shows it's a tree line. It's just a tree line and the wind's moving through it. Mm-hmm. It's a New England tree line and the wind's moving through it and the leaves are rustling and it stays on that shot and there's the music. And I remembered feeling like the hair on the back of my neck standing up. And I thought, to me, I like films. I don't necessarily need blood flying everywhere constantly. I love this idea of something's amiss and otherwise normal, sort of harmless looking objects or environments suddenly scare the shit out of me and I can't tell you why.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so much is the music, right? Yeah. I mean, the same moment can go so many different ways, and if the music is scary, then it'll be scary. If the music is too happy, it's even scarier. It's right. I'm all about tone as well. Yeah. So what is your all-time favorite if you had to do?
Wow.
Horror.
God, it's so hard because I don't know. I don't think I'm qualified to say because I don't know the genre as. I mean, I see Three Men and a Baby as a horror film.
Oh,
so it's just, it has that ghost in the window, that famous ghost.
No, I'm always a comedy that hits me the wrong way is to me the ultimate horror film. Right. If there's a comedy that I feel like, nah, I didn't like that. That's more horrifying to me than anything. It's like, really, you guys were going for comedy? That's horrible.
Well, that ghost behind the curtains in that one scene of Three Men and a Baby. Yep. You know about that?
No, I don't. I mean, I know of it, but I don't know what the...
Well, so it's, it turns out, the whole urban legend was that there's a moment where you can see a ghost behind the curtain in this loft downtown at Three Men and Baby. And the reveal was that, the truth, supposedly, is that it was, Ted Danson's character was an actor. Mm-hmm. And then it was a cardboard cutout of Ted Danson that if you look up YouTube, it's looks like a child's ghost behind the thing. But I've always wanted to make a horror film where someone's being hunted by a cardboard cutout of Ted Danson. He's not in it. It's his likeness. Do I need his? I probably need his permission.
You probably need the permission. But we can get a photograph of him. But there's another movie I really liked, It Follows.
Yeah,
which I thought was so terrific, and it's just this concept of someone slowly walking towards you from like 800 yards away. Yeah. And I watched that, and I thought, I think walking. A zombie walking is scarier than a zombie running.
Yes. I mean, I had a scene in my film where there's a guy running towards you. So
yes,
I have a little
which
bit
is also very scary. I'm just saying it depends on the situation, but zombie running to me is less frightening than zombie walking. What do you say?
Meh. I mean,
what?
Are you talking about something that gets to you later?
It gets to me later.
You're talking about something that gets to you later is scarier than something that gets to you sooner.
It makes an appointment?
Yes, I like my zombies that call the day before, and they say it's for good. And by the way, I hope you have a ramp because I can't use stairs.
Well, to be fair, It Follows was I had seen It Follows. I think by the time I had shot Get Out, and part of that scene where Walter is running straight out.
Yeah.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was thinking, well, what I love about the energy of It Follows is anything in any movie that comes from the back of the house towards you is doing the ultimate in film illusions.
Yeah.
It's the train robbery, right? A train coming through, people will dodge out of the way.
Exactly.
Anyway, so I took what a little bit of what It Follows had done and North by Northwest before it, and sped Walter at it. So kudos to that film.
Well, it's terrifying when he's running when Walter's running right at the lens. It's absolutely terrifying. I also find it scary when they're all sitting around in It Follows and a character from way far away is just slowly walking. Now, yes, I like the idea that I have time to call an Uber. And then debate which one is closest and wait 9 minutes.
And all that time you're watching and experience more and more fear as it gets closer.
Yes. Yeah. And also fear about, should I have gone, I don't know if I picked the right ride. Maybe I shouldn't have gone, maybe I just should have gone comfort. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Done an Uber pool and
Or Uber pool would have come faster, but
up lift.
I had to have comfort.
Yeah. This is not what most horror protagonists have on their minds.
Well, again, agree to disagree. I'm opening you to a new kind of horror, and I want you're free to use this in any of your films where something terrifying is happening, but then the character's worried about what this is going to cost them financially.
Yeah.
And
it just feels like the horrors in your life, when I put out something into my movie, I'm putting real horror, something I'm really afraid of.
Right.
Like if I saw like a doppelganger or racism.
Yeah.
But you're talking about things like,
what's the right ride-sharing app?
So,
is Amazon Prime? Is it the free delivery? Do I really need this in a day?
No.
Am I willing to pay more for it?
So
if
the
it's there
guy
in a
in
day?
Get Out really was based on you.
Yes. Yeah. And by the way, I'd have voted for Obama again. I'm sorry. I mean, really.
Yeah. We'll work on a horror premise.
This is why I don't get invited to any of these cool horror discussions. You know what I found? I found there was a movie. I think it was The Vanishing.
The original?
Yeah. The original Vanishing.
The Dutch.
I loved that movie.
Harrowing. Yeah.
It's harrowing. I love moments of Let the Right One In. The original again. They've always keep remaking these movies, but I like the originals. And I do love. Things like movies like Midsommar freaked me out.
Okay, so this tells me you are in fact a horror fan, and you have very good taste. These are good movies, and The Vanishing is fucked up.
Yeah.
That's dark stuff.
It's really dark stuff.
A dark movie in all daylight. That's the crazy thing. It's so well lit.
I didn't see that as being your cup of tea.
Oh, you know what's funny too? I love those movies. And I was talking about this with my wife the other day. I said, you never watch these movies with me. And she said, because I don't like that stuff. And she said, when we got married, I had no idea that this is, and it's something that's been growing, but I really do love these films, but no one in my house, my kids don't like horror as a genre, and so I have to go and watch these things alone, and then that feels creepy and sad. But so maybe I'll get you to come over.
Hey,
you can watch.
I'll bring the cards. We'll
bring the cards. Bring your cardboard, Ted Danson. And then, but I love that sense of eeriness. Hereditary goes so crazily off the rails. Yeah. It's insane.
Just an iconic film. I love this movie, and so scary too. Ari's, and I don't know if you've met Ari. He did this same. I played the same game with him, and he's very, he's very nice, very funny, very warm dude.
Right.
And as you would imagine, our film just creeped into this like eerie, dark place that I just I couldn't even wrangle it back. He's from a horror perspective, in many ways, he's the champ.
Well, I was going to say, and I thought, because this is something, it's sort of what we're talking about, but just as in The Witch, I was just looking at all these trees undulating.
Yeah.
But in Nope, when you're taking what is a very friendly looking sky, it's a friendly sky, and it's not even a menacing cloud, but it becomes menacing. For me, it's all about difficulty of the dive, which is, how can you take something that really wouldn't frighten you in any other situation?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have this dark thundercloud or whatever. It's this very calm, beautiful sky. And then you learn that if you stare at it in the distance, you can identify that it's different from the other, but it takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved all that. I love the way you just kept really slowly, but notching it up and notching it up. I love that.
Thank you. I mean, my sort of philosophy of the genre is I'm confrontational with my audience, but I also want to, I'm based on a comedic sensibility. So I want to get the entire audience on board.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the challenges with the genre of horror and nightmarish shit is that you're asking people to come take time out of their lives and come to a worse world and a scarier world for a while. And so some people are just, hey, I'm in, let's go. But for most people, you kind of need a sort of special set of circumstances. And so what I found and what I love in horror movies is when the aesthetic and the vibe, and I love daytime horror where everything about the viewing experience is soothing and warm to the audience.
Yeah.
What you're sort of noticing, of course, is in so many of the best movies that births the creepiest sensibility, because anything that's sort of trying to be scary through trying to be scary kind of ends up in a Halloween store.
Yeah,
vibe.
it's. I mean, again, we're jumping back. The similarity to comedy, but my favorite comedy is there's absolutely nothing funny going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing funny is going on here.
Right.
Like nothing funny happening here. And that was, something that the Zucker brothers stumbled on, which is, no, let's just get these great straight men actors to be an airplane, and let's have them. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Shirley, you don't think I do, and don't call me Shirley.
Mm-hmm.
But they say it like, I'm sorry, but your son is dead. And it's just horrifying, but they're saying this absolutely hilarious stuff, but in the same way that they did on 1970s detective shows.
Mm-hmm.
So when nothing funny happening here is my favorite kind of comedy, and nothing scary is happening here might be my favorite kind of horror, which is not the castle and nighttime and and shrieking and howling in the night. It is something you can make ranch country that otherwise is quite beautiful, or you can take a beautiful weekend home and someone's visiting his girlfriend and make it absolutely terrifying.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's scarier.
And it is so much as the music. It's like if for our interview here, or for our discussion, there was a camera slowly moving around, and as you were talking, it was just more of a bum bum dum dum. You would be like, what the fuck is Conan about to do to Jordan?
Yeah.
What's about to happen?
Yeah.
And there is so
and lots of you talking and me just staring at you. Exactly. Yeah,
that's it, right? But to your point, you being friendly and nice, the nicer you are with that music, the scarier the scene even becomes, and the more sort of joyous. So this is the reason, smiles are big in horror. It's that instant visual, visceral, primal contradiction of your terror, and this is part of why I find if I can unlock the right horror engine and world, I can get more glee out of trying to tell that story than, even doing sketch or any other thing. But it's not like I can just go, okay, I'm just going to make my Michael Myers movie where I make a movie about a killer with a knife. and necessarily have that be fun for me.
Yeah.
That's not going to be my thing. So I'm respect, that's why Carpenter's the GOAT.
Yeah.
In horror.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be looking for some way to subvert it in my own way.
Do you miss performing? Do you miss it at all, or is it like, nope, that was fun, done with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does feel like it's hard to say. I guess maybe a little bit, but it's just kind of starting. I mean, I did that run with Key and Peele really was getting to do everything.
And that came at the end of like, you've been out there for a while.
Yeah.
You've been doing improv, you're on Mad TV. So you had been working it for a while before people really got to know you.
Oh yeah.
In Key and Peele.
Yeah. I was slinging rock in a sketch comedy form. It's on Mad TV.
Yeah.
And then of course my entire sort of what was meant to be a collegiate career was dedicated to improv and sketch in Chicago and Amsterdam. So I feel like you
scratched that itch.
What I get to do now is just more fun.
Yeah.
It's just more fun.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, you're creating worlds, which is just, what could be
more fun,
greater than that?
I'm, to be fair and clear, it's like there's something that's possible when you have this, as you know, this privilege of working with this enormous team of people who are like, okay, I'm on board with your vision, let's go.
Yeah. And
there's something that is just, that's just you feel like, okay, it's not about me anymore. It's about this thing we've built and we're building, and these things that we're gonna build. It's hard to look back at all that time, especially because like 300 short comedy films.
Yeah.
If I wanted to do one again, I got to do it again, and ultimately, I'm sick of watching myself. And so,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you get it.
I know it is really funny.
All of these cameras on here are just on him.
Yeah.
We don't even have your mic on. This is just. We're gonna later try and remember what it is you said.
Right.
I'm gonna read over. We have a transcript of what you said, and I'm gonna read it back.
Right. Well.
That's the creepiest idea.
Yeah.
A guy who's lost his mind to that degree. But
that's Alex Jones, right?
He didn't know it, but he was. We're working our way towards that format. We just have to. Yeah. We'll get there. Don't you worry. Guys, it's a corporate move. Came from up top. So, I'm curious. What's it like now? You're in this position where you are getting to meet these directors, these people that made your childhood, helped form your sensibility. Do you have an easy time walking in and going, hey, how are you? Or do you get a little self-conscious around people like that?
It depends who.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a one-to-one who is you'd think would be easy to talk to. I remember meeting Michael Mann, and you always hear he's kind of gruff, and who there all kinds of stories can predate meeting somebody. I always felt he was so kind of warm, connected, cool, and so I had no nerves talking to the guy.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson, he's a good friend of mine. I've spent a lot of time with him, and I'm still very nervous around him. So it's weird.
Yeah.
Because he's just that fucking cool.
He is. You get to call him PTA?
I'm like PT.
Yeah.
PTA. No, I do. I think I have called him.
Because Sandler's friends with him. He's always saying things like, hey, Coney. He calls me Coney. Hey, since SNL days, but he sticks with that. And he goes like, hey, Coney. Yeah, I just had, I'm having a sandwich with PTA. And I'm always remembering like, wait, why are you meeting the parent teacher association? I'm like, oh, I forgot I'm not cool. But yeah, another
you forgot for a second?
I'm sorry. I forgot I was.
Because you actually have lunch with the Parent-Teacher Association.
And I'm disappointed when Paul Thomas Anderson shows up.
Yeah.
No one says Paul Thomas Anderson anymore.
Yeah.
No one says that anymore. People say PTA.
Okay, well, I guess didn't get the memo. My whole life. If I ever write an autobiography, it's like I didn't get the memo.
No. By the way, he would disagree with me, by the way, on the record. I think he'd say, no, please.
Yeah.
Call me Paul. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I'll stop speaking for him. He does a pretty good job.
Yeah. I just now, where are you in the midst of working on your next film? I mean, you probably can't say anything about it, but where I don't even understand how your process works. Does an idea come to you and then it just percolates for a while? How does it happen?
Yeah, I mean, this has been obviously an interesting year because the writer's strike has had me sort of in a state of listening.
Yep.
And that's kind of where I've needed to be, and I do feel like my next project is clear to me, and I'm psyched to that I have another film that it could be my favorite movie if I make it right.
That's awesome.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's very cool.
I could be totally bullshitting you guys right now, and you guys,
I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I'll be comped. You'll have to pay.
Yeah. Well,
and
we'll do it. I'll get my. Yeah. We'll.
No, they should. You want them to? They'll pay.
Why don't you just pay for us?
Yeah. And then not go.
Because I'd like to go for free with PTA as my plus one. No,
that's on offer. I don't know that that's on offer.
Thank you.
Jesus.
Have you talked?
This was going so well. This is one I love this discussion, and then
you pushed it too far.
I pushed it too far. That's on me. I'm going to look at the tape later and go like, yeah, that's the part.
That's the moment.
That's the moment I ruined it. Many delightful things have happened on this podcast over the last 5 years, but I maintain that my favorite audio moment, and this is really saying something because I think we've had some great audio moments, but for me personally, was recently we had Werner Herzog. Great filmmaker, director, documentarian Werner Herzog was on the show. And we're chatting with him. And it was an amazing, I loved the conversation. And I think we got a lot of terrific response about it. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. At one point, he was talking, I think, about pop culture and how he tries to stay somewhat familiar with it. And then inadvertently, out of nowhere, he mentioned a reality show. And I think he qualified it by saying, I'm not sure this is still on any longer. But then he mentioned the reality show, and the name of the show combined with Werner Herzog's unique delivery delighted me. It didn't just delight me, but it stayed in my head for days afterwards. And it's just this lozenge that just keeps on giving. It doesn't lose its power.
It was 100% the last thing I expected to come out of his mouth.
Exactly.
And he got the full title. Nobody calls it that. Everyone just calls it by the name.
Yeah, but he got the full title. He said it in his voice, and then the way he says it. So Eduardo, if you would do the honors, this is Werner Herzog saying something that really makes me happy in 3, 2, 1.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
I'm sorry. It's the boo. Here comes honey. Again.
Yeah.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
How does that not cure cancer, end all wars? Yeah. How does that not reduce carbon emissions worldwide immediately, close the ozone layer?
Yeah.
Maybe it will.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel seen. Because I want to say, because I think he's just on such a high pedestal.
Yep.
But then there's something he and I have in common, which is shitty reality shows.
Yes.
And so we're the same person.
Yeah, there's that. There's that. But the best part is more about the sound.
Yeah.
To me, yes, that's nice. That's nice. I get what you're saying. But to me, it's about this.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Listen to the boo boo.
I know.
Listen
it's
to
so
the
belabored.
Honey Boo Boo.
In fact, Eduardo, as we talk, just pepper it in as we talk.
Whenever you like.
Don't even wait for us.
Yeah.
You know?
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah, it's the boo boo. It's the
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Oh.
Yeah, that's very good.
Really good.
But not as good as this.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I think when it's my time to go, which is who knows when, but
Soon.
people always talk about what is it they want, and I'm thinking I want to have a really good Pinot Noir. I want to eat a really good Sicilian thin crust pizza, and then I want them to start turning up the dials on various things that will take me to the next plane, and then I just want to hear this over and over and over.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Over and over. Just
Here
go
comes Honey Boo Boo.
over and over as I leave this earth.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo. Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
I mean, I just want to, I think that would make me happy.
That's really the odds of that happening in our lifetimes are just astronomical, and we got to be
Here
here for
comes Honey Boo Boo.
Yes,
Yeah.
the fact that, has he ever said that? Maybe he has, but he said it to us and there were microphones around and we captured
Here
it.
Just the
comes
fact
Honey
that
Boo Boo.
we are living in a time where Werner Herzog existed and Here Comes Honey Boo Boo existed, and they
You're saying it wrong.
Oh, sorry.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
It's Here Comes Honey Boo
Here
Boo.
comes Honey Boo Boo.
I want someone to do a dance song and just have that loop.
And loop that.
Here
yeah,
comes Honey
We
Boo
have
Boo.
really creative fans. Maybe someone can do it.
The question is there somewhere out there, is Honey Boo Boo herself going, "Look, I watch Little Dieter, I watch Little Dieter Learns to Fly.
I watch what?
Little Dieter Learns to Fly.
No.
What?
No, Honey Boo Boo is probably, I
What?
mean, maybe it's possible.
It's that. It's your accent.
It's the accent. What is that
That's
accent?
Honey Boo Boo's
I
accent.
know,
Is
but
it?
it's really funny coming from you.
Do it again. I want to see it.
I watch Little Dieter Learns to Fly.
Say that she also likes Grizzly Man.
I like Grizzly Man. I like Aguirre Wrath of God.
Oh, that's the best one.
Yeah.
I like Aguirre. Do that again.
I like Aguirre Wrath of God.
And then
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
now let's do. He's announcing that she's coming with her to say her favorite movie, and then you come in, Honey Boo Boo, and say your favorite movie, and go.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
I like Aguirre Wrath of God.
Perfect. That's really good. Do me a favor. Edit in. This is what I want. I want Werner Herzog to say here that he hears footsteps. Okay? And so he says, "Here comes Honey Boo Boo." And then I want to hear a door open. And then I want to hear Gourley. Everybody all set? So here we go.
Are you going to do the sound effects?
I can try, and then we can.
Because otherwise
But did
I'll
you-
edit and post. But
Did
Yeah,
you think
let's do it for
Eduardo
now.
just had him?
I know.
No,
It's not
I
a
didn't.
Foley artist.
No, I was going to leave space. But anyway,
Oh.
okay, here we go.
Oh.
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. All right.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
I watched Aguirre Wrath of God.
Now,
That what?
does that? I don't.
that
I
what-
think my door opening was okay, but then I did. Kaboom,
I think,
kaboom,
yeah, that
kaboom.
was like a monster
was that?
coming.
But also,
It's gotta
I
be
think
like-
I was. You know what? She was. I think I had her on a pogo stick.
I think you did. Oh, that's good.
Don't-
Yeah, you do the
do
foot.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Don't
that's
do
even
that.
better.
Let's try
Yeah.
it, and let's
Don't.
try it again. Let's
You
try it
guys,
again.
I can't do
Yes, you
sound
can.
effects.
You're gonna do it. Here we go.
Okay.
Wait, but just so we have the order, it's got to go footsteps. Here comes Honey Boo Boo. Door opens. Aguirre Wrath of God.
Yes, here we go.
Footsteps are first?
Yes,
Yes.
here we go. And go.
Pit, pit, pit.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Fuck me.
What?
Oh my God.
What did you do?
What was that?
Pithy pit?
Piffy Pit?
Pithy pit?
What was Piffy
What was
Pit?
Pithy pit?
I say we keep it.
The
Just
feet
do it.
Do it.
tapping.
Try it again. Try it again.
Pit, 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 pit.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Then the door. I watched Aguirre Wrath of God.
All right, let's try it one more time. I'll get it. We'll tighten it up. Sona, go.
Pit, 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 pit,
Here
pit.
comes Honey Boo Boo.
I watched Aguirre Wrath of God.
I think we almost got it, except what is pithy pit? Why is she wearing a weird slipper? It's made of like.
Well, how would you guys do the footsteps? That's a horse.
Yeah, she's coming in on a horse, or she's been shod.
What are you doing?
She's tap dancing in.
Come on, no, you guys aren't better.
Why does she heartbeat walk?
She has AFib. She has AFib, a rare form of AFib that travels down and it vibrates the IT band.
You guys are shitty. You guys know I can't do footsteps.
Yeah, except you, Pithy Pithy Pith.
Piffy.
Oh, I'd love to hear her do all the sound effects on a. It was a cold night. Wishy washy, wishy washy. When the old man came, Pithy 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 Pith.
Why joke when you can get her to do it?
With his faithful horse. Let's do the faith, and his faithful horse was with him.
Clack, click, click, clack, click.
No!
Why doesn't it speak?
Something like that. But why did you do clickety
Because
clackety?
I was walking and the horse was walking in.
And just then, an alien ship landed.
So stupid.
And then they made smoothies in a blender.
That was a good blender.
All right, listen, let's agree that as great as Sona was right now and as fantastic, much fun as we had, good times we had, nothing beats.
Here comes Honey Boo Boo.
Amen.
Mr. Herzog, you're our hero.